What is up guys, Andy, Forest Dean Runner here, back with another video for you today, and today we are going to be talking about my running form. Yes, we're going to be analysing the dreaded running form. It is a video I've wanted to make for ages. I have terrible running form, but it's something I've been working on a lot over the last couple of years. Running is a patience game, as we all know, and I'm finally starting to see some rewards for the hard work I've been putting in, but there's still a long way to go. Now, as I said before, I wanted to make this video for a long time. I saw some pictures this weekend taken at the 10k race that I've just run, and it's kind of spurred me on to make it because I can see some massive improvements on my running form. I can also still see some areas that we still need to work on, and I'm going to be really critical of myself, but I think it's really important, and I encourage all of you to, if you're striving to get better and if you're trying to take your running a little bit more seriously, to do the same. You know, take the time out. I was really fortunate enough 2 years ago to find a piece of footage of someone that filmed me during the Gloucester City Marathon, not for asking. It was just a random bit of footage that was used on one of the online publications around Gloucester, and I was horrified with my running form, and since then I've been working hard to change it. I've been working with Chris, as you've seen, and I've been doing my own exercises, and we're going to break it down into 3 sections. The 3 sections are the shuffle. Number 1, the shuffle. You'll see what I mean by the shuffle in a minute. Number 2, get some mobility in the upper back. And number 3, what goes with that is the arm swing. Those are the 3 things that I have been trying to work on. Along with that, there are some other elements, simple things, but simple but effective. Things like staying upright, which comes with a stronger back, keeping the chin tucked, and various other little bits and pieces you'll see. So without further ado, let's get on to the shuffle. Right guys, so number 1, the shuffle. Have a look at this video clip. This is of me at the Gloucester City Marathon. So as you can see, it's a nice clip of me running straight to the camera, and it was a perfect angle for me to be horrified. Now I'll just play it again, and hopefully you'll see what I mean by the shuffle. So if we pause the video around here, or I'll wind it back and pause it in a suitable place and run it in slow-mo a little bit, watch the hips. Watch the hips. All my movement is in the hips. I'm twisting at the hips. So if you think about when you're running, obviously you want to be running, and you know, as your leg goes out, your shoulder goes back, and you've got a mini rocking and rolling motion going on as all the chains of muscles in your back go through to your glute and to your leg, and they all work in conjunction and work well. Well, as you can see at that point in time, there was none of that going on, and everything was taking place in the hips. So my hips were doing the movement for me. They were shuffling back and forth, and this was causing a lot of problems for me at the time. I was getting injured quite a bit and suffering a lot of aches and pains, and obviously I saw Chris shortly after, and he explained what was going on, and basically, again, due to my immobile top back, none of these muscles were firing, and my hips had just taken up the workload of doing all the work for me. Now, this obviously induces poor running form, as you can see. It's difficult to see from this angle, but I am very much hunched over at that point. And bearing in mind that was about mile 4 in the race, in the marathon. So yes, I'm running at about 7-minute mile pace, but that was only at mile 4, so I wasn't even tired. But I didn't particularly look too fresh, looking down a little bit too much. The vision was down because my neck was down, and it's not good. So hopefully you can see what I mean by the shuffle. So the first thing I've been working on, and was working on with Chris, was getting those chain of muscles firing. I've been doing some exercises to try and get the whole chain of muscles firing. So refer back to some of my old half marathon training series videos. I think week 2 and 3, I've got some exercises in there that I put in from Chris that I was doing, and you know, using those to help mobilize everything up here. So that was number 1. Right, so number 2 was to try and get the whole upper back chain working, muscle chain working, and more mobilized, more upright, focusing on my eyes, projecting in front of me, looking that way, not down, not up, with the chin out, because what a tendency to happen is, as you notice, I've said to you before, I have a bit of kyphosis going on here with my upper back. So you'll notice I have a bit of a hump. It's something I'm going to the gym to work on. So what can happen when, for all of you that work at a computer, you understand, so you sat at a computer all day and you start out like this and you go over like this, and to compensate, you stick your chin out, and then you go over again and you stick your chin out again. And so you end up sort of in this position, and I end up in this position a lot, or I used to. So I've made a real effort to sort of shoulders back, relax, tuck the chin, and as you can see, that's a massive difference from what I used to be, which was like that. So that is now translating into my running. Obviously this is something I'm working on at the gym a lot. The gym has been revolutionary for all this stuff, just working on my upper back, getting the strength in there, feeling like I can hold posture strong for a long time, and that for me has been the catalyst of that side of things. So although I've been working on mobilizing it, lots of foam rolling, lots of crisp exercises, actually since the gym it's taken to another level in the fact that I used to feel like really heavy and just slouch over like this and stick the chin out. Whereas now I just don't feel like that, so I can sit at a computer all day. I do get up and have regular breaks, but I can just kind of, my back still feels nice and mobilised. And when I go to the gym, I'm very slowly increasing the weights. I can feel myself getting stronger, and it's a fantastic feeling. So that's number 2. And number 3 was the arm position. Now this is an interesting one. So I'm not going to compare, well you've just seen the 2 bits of footage. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute which is horrifying from this weekend's race, and this is the bit that I really need to work on. I've already been out for a workout today, and I thought to myself, I'll consciously not make a change in this workout. I'll run as I normally would, and I won't think about it. Now normally I keep my arms nice by my side, kind of, you can't see here, but just a pendulum motion going back and forth like that, and that's how I like to keep it. Obviously with the small rocking and roll, I mean this is exaggerated, but keeping that momentum forward, arms going forward, trying to keep crossover minimal. Well, I failed at that, didn't I, this weekend? So, obviously, easy running, that's all I'm focusing on. Workout today, as I said, went out there consciously not thinking about it, thinking, let's see when this crossover starts. In fact, actually, do you know what? Here's the picture. Have a look at that. I look like I'm hugging myself. It's crazy. That is full on up here. And I notice I do have one shoulder that's a bit tighter than the other, and I do notice that is the shoulder that is a bit weaker. So there's obviously some kind of strength building I need to do, and the reason that I do that when I get tired is that is still, you know, and it's going to take time to build this back up, but because my shoulders curl in a bit because I sit at a computer like this, you know, naturally they're not sat back nicely to go backwards and forwards nice and easy, because they're sat curled in a bit. Naturally there's that slight angle. I'm kind of watching the camera as I talk, trying to show you, because I'm not at the best angle. So whereas if my shoulders back, position like that, naturally you look at a lot of great runners, their arms go back and forth, shoulders neutral. Shoulder curled in, you have that natural. So when I run like that, I'm actually fighting the natural curl in of my shoulders. So when I get fatigued, that fighting goes and my shoulders drop, and then that's when that curl happens. And obviously we all know that that's a very inefficient thing to be doing. However, I'm going to be positive in the fact that it's improved a lot. However, I can also see that in a 10k race where I'm pushing myself quite hard towards the end, and that photo was taken at mile 5.5, so it was at the very end, but my shoulders are still giving up. So that's going to be a long-winded process where I slowly but surely build up the muscles, get the flexibility back, work on straightening those shoulders out, getting them a bit more in a neutral position rather than curled forward, and yeah, just kind of grind it out. It's going to take a long time, just like that footage I showed you then at Gloucester City Marathon was 2 years ago to now. 2 years it's taken me to get to this point, and I'm nowhere near perfect, you know, I'm miles off, but I'm getting there. So my message to you guys is, film yourself, you know, keep track of progress, make a note of little things, you know, let's not let our egos get in the way of thinking we're perfect runners, because I know damn well I'm not a perfect runner, and I have a lot of fundamental flaws in my running style, namely the fact that I'm 6'6" and I look like a giraffe falling forward. So trying to get a more natural running style is very hard for me. I'm not one of these kind of 5'6", 5'7", slight built, you know, 180 cadence step people. You know, my cadence in that 10k was 164. But then I have 39-inch inside legs. I've got very long legs, so my stride length is massive. So, you know, we're all going to have our perks, shall we call them. We're all going to have our differences, but do sit down, put that ego to one side. You know, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect, unless we're blooming Eliud Kipchoge, who runs like a machine. You know, there's all of us have kind of flaws that we can exploit. I encourage you, and I would like your feedback on this video. This is a different video. This is really me putting myself out there, saying to you, hey, you know, I'm a runner, I'm doing my best, but I have flaws, and these are my flaws. What do you think? You know, can you see a change? Can you see the difference? Can you see what I'm talking about? And what are your own flaws? You know, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on your running form. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. It's slightly different, but hopefully insightful, and you might learn something from it, especially those of you who sit at a desk like me. Things to think about moving forward with your running. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, guys, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and I will see you on Friday for today's workout. Until then.